Hello? Testing. Okay, cool. All right, what's cracking, Kuma Corporation? Welcome to the second episode of what I'm now calling Form Check Friday. I know I posted the first one on Monday. This is now coming out on Fridays. If you were expecting one 4 days ago, sorry, but yeah, we're gonna be posting these on Fridays now. So for those of you that are new here, basically what I'm going to be doing is going through r/formcheck. It's a subreddit where people post their videos asking for critiques on their technique, and I'm just going to go through basically the top posts of the week and kind of like dissect them a little bit and give my thoughts and opinions on ways that it can be improved. So we got, does my squat look okay from background ad 2075? Just watching the clip once, I noticed two things. The first is that this high bar position may not be the best position for this individual, as they have extremely long legs, just like me. Hashtag long femur gang. So adopting a low bar position for the squat might be better. If they don't want to do that, then you can always continue to high bar. I always say everybody can squat high bar, but not everyone should. Everyone can squat low bar, but not everyone should. And so with these proportions, I would definitely recommend a low bar position. But if not, the way you can kind of fix this, the major issue here is that towards the, basically in the hole, we have good depth, right? But we do have a bit of a collapse here. The bar is trying to roll forwards. And so the path of the bar, instead of going up and down in a straight line, is actually going it's moving anteriorly, right? And so what we want to do to fix that is improve hip mobility, improve external rotation of the femur, and improve hip abduction, femoral abduction. And so basically getting the knees out further, basically facilitate that bottom position, that strong bottom position, in which you want to make sure the torso kind of stays as vertical as possible. And so because this bar is being basically thrown forward throughout the range of motion, throughout the eccentric portion of the squat, it's making it a little bit difficult on the concentric, as you guys can kind of see. A bit of a struggle there. It's making it a little bit dangerous around that lumbar region. So what I would advise is to just widen the stance a little bit and perform a lot of mobility drills in order to improve that femoral abduction. But overall, good squat, nothing too seriously wrong here. Okay, so the next post we have is by Afraid Court 2020. And so they're asking, is ankle cave inherently a bad thing? Do I need to fix it? If so, how? Should I get Oli shoes? So let's go ahead and take a look at their squat and see what they're talking about here. Okay, I see it, yeah. All right, let's see a couple more reps. Oh, they shifted up their stance a little bit, which is only making it worse. Makes sense. They went for a narrower stance, which is only making the issue worse. Okay. Oh, we got another angle here of the squat. Unfortunately, can't really see the ankle too much anymore, but we'll go ahead and watch this as well. So again, we kind of got someone with like the hashtag long femur gang, and they again are using a high bar technique here, which, not to sound like a broken record, but it's fine if you do. But what they're asking about essentially is overpronation of the ankle. And so if you look at this right ankle here, maybe in post I can zoom it in, I don't know. But if you look at this right ankle here, you'll see that as he descends, it kind of caves inward, right? And so what that tells me is a couple different things, and that the first thing I always like to check for is a stability issue, and specifically for this case, the talocalcaneal joint. If I can pull it up. Okay, so here's kind of a low res image, sorry about that, but a image of the structure of the foot, right? And so the calcaneus is basically the heel bone, right? So it attaches in so many different ligaments, really. The foot and ankle is such a complicated structure. So the talocalcaneal joint is like right about here. The main joint here, talocalcaneal joint, TC joint, oftentimes is unstable with a lot of people because with sprained ankles and stuff like that. If you roll your ankle ever, if you were in sports or something like that, and you happen to have that sort of injury where you just sprain your ankle, it's a very common injury. Oftentimes it without proper physical therapy, without proper rehabilitation, can oftentimes lead to really unstable joint structure, just foot and ankle structure essentially, right? And so that's the first thing I want to look for. Now with this person, I can't make any assumptions because all I can see is the technique that's being utilized, but I can make a couple of guesses as to what could be happening here. So that's the first. It could be that this person had some kind of injury in the past, rolled their ankle, something like that, and the structure here is just unstable. And so what you would need to do, basically do a lot of stability drills of the ankle, a lot of drills that will help and strengthen the joint. If you want to look for stuff like that, basically exercises and drills to fix the ankle, the good people at ATG have great resources on that. I can link that in the description if this is something that you suffer from. But the other thing, right, the second thing that I could think of is that this person is consistently trying to go more and more narrow in order to solve the problem. That's actually probably a bad idea, in that the more narrow you go, the more difficult it is to achieve proper depth with good form, good technique, if you don't have good mobility, right? And so if this is happening, right, this overpronation issue is happening, and it is a result of poor mobility rather than a result of a damaged and unstable joint, going more and more and more narrow is only going to make the problem worse, essentially. And so what you're going to want to do, if this is you, is adopt a wider stance, turn the feet out a little bit more, and focus on grounding the pinky toe and essentially feeling the floor and pressing that pinky toe down as much as you can to kind of offset that almost subconscious urge, right, to kind of cave in. So that'll help that situation. And so again, kind of with the previous post that we just saw, this is a very similar issue in that there's just a lack of external rotation and abduction happening. Just improving mobility, adopting a wider stance, and then turning the feet out a little bit more is essentially going to fix majority of the issues here, provided that it's that problem and not unstable foot ankle joint situation. Okay, the next post we got is from user BT Gong. Deadlift PR, lower back soreness, sharp pain hours afterwards. Ooh, that's bad. Okay, let's go ahead and watch. Now I say this, but immediately I can kind of tell that this bar is a bit too far in front of this person. So I don't know if they're going to roll it towards them, but we'll see. Nope, they did not roll it towards them. Okay, so they started with the bar a bit too far away from them. Ideally, you're gonna want to start the bar like bar over midfoot. Everyone says that realistically, but because of how far away the bar is for this person, so you'll notice that instead of kind of creating a wedge here, they're almost like squatting, right? And so squatting your deadlift is not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on the reason why you're doing a deadlift, right? And so for Olympic weightlifting, for example, when you want to clean your bar, if you're doing a clean and jerk, you're going to want to set with your hips a little bit lower than a traditional, like, conventional deadlift for, let's say, powerlifting, right? My immediate thought from the setup is that because the bar is too far, it's the starting position is incorrect. I'm also not noticing a ton of slack pull, so I'm looking at the upper back, I'm looking at the setup, and I'm not really seeing a lot of engagement in the upper back, which could potentially be a majority of the reason why this person's experiencing that lower back soreness and sharp pain. Watching through the lift, if I do start to see this sort of thing happening, right, where there's a bit of elbow flexion and the knees and the hips haven't quite locked yet, right, but the bar is kind of digging into the thigh, it's kind of telling me that there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure on the low back. And so I think it was at this point for this lift in particular that caused that lower back issue. I'm gonna hazard a guess to say it's probably lack of lower back engagement. And okay, we got a post by Mobile Struggle 9867. Let's see, help with deadlift form. Okay, gonna watch this one. Okay, so with that, I don't know why it keeps opening. With this, basically what I just talked about in the previous video about kind of squatting the deadlift, this is exactly that, right? This is the situation here, in that the setup is fine for the most part. What I often see with these types of people is that their hips are going to shoot up first, and then they're basically going to do a back extension to get the bar up. So if you watch, hip shot up first and then back extension, right? And so with this, it's literally just about learning the proper technique of the deadlift. I've made shorts, YouTube shorts and stuff like that, on kind of a very quick and efficient way to learn how to deadlift, the pull push thrust, which I can, I suppose, link in the description. But essentially, TLDR, you want to learn how to effectively engage the upper back and pull slack. You want to understand how to wedge and set the hips to the basically optimal height for your body, and think of the deadlift as more of a push rather than a pull. And so what that means is you just want to be thinking of the deadlift as you're pushing the floor down, right, rather than trying to pull the bar up. And that'll definitely, it'll help. It helps. I feel like it helps a lot of people when I explain it that way. But yeah, if you just watch the video on the pull push thrust, you'll probably understand, at least for the most part, what I'm talking about. I actually wanted to come back to this one because I forgot to mention something that I saw in the second half of this video, is that the wrists are kind of, they're extended a lot here, and the bar is kind of raising in the upper half of the palm. You never really want to see this. That said, if it's high bar, you know, and the bar is kind of resting on the traps, and basically there's like little to no pressure in the wrist, it might be okay. But for most people, you never really want to see this. You want to always try to stay stacked in every single exercise that you do. And staying stacked is something that I talk about a lot. I don't know if other coaches out there may use this terminology, but essentially the idea is that if you are stacked, if you just draw a straight line from the weight, you want to make sure that it's essentially a nice solid line through the joints, right? So if I were to take the elbow first, the elbow joint, and draw that line basically through radius and ulna, then we get to the wrist. And if I were to keep drawing, all of a sudden, instead of my mouse cursor kind of being at the barbell, it's pointing at nothing. And so the bar is here actually. And if I were to draw a straight line, all of a sudden we're kind of parallel to that nice straight line, instead of being directly on top of it. And the reason why this is an issue is because it causes a lot of stress on the joints, and you can experience a lot of different types of pains like medial or lateral epicondylitis. This is another issue. So always, full grip your bar, make sure that it's in the meat of your hands. And with high bar in particular, it sounds counterintuitive, but you want to be actively pulling it down into your traps as you go through the concentric and eccentric motion. All right, so that about does it for this episode of Form Check Friday. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If any of this information helped you, go ahead and leave a like. If you like this video and none of this information was really relevant to you, like the video anyway. I'd appreciate it a lot. Go ahead and share with your friends as well. And if you want me to go over your technique, so if you have some questions on something that's been bugging you in your lifting journey, you can join my Discord. There's going to be a link in the description. Join my Discord and throw the video into there, and I'll go ahead and go over it either in a Form Check Friday, or we'll do it just in the Discord itself. And as a quick reminder, my website kumacorp.us has officially released the first merch drop, the Meiji era merch drop. You can view the collection here. We've got tapestry pump covers. We got the modest pump cover in white and in black. We also excitingly have a kind of collaboration with Champion. So we got the Kuma Corp X Champion embroidered crew neck, which I think looks really cool, really dope. We also have the Meiji era embroidered dad hats as well. And one thing that I am waiting on that I've ordered is the tapestry hoodie. I think it looks really good in this light blue color, but you can go ahead and go to my website kumacorp.us and shop around for some merch. Go ahead and support the channel, support the gym fund. I'm trying to open up my own gym. I do have a beginner's powerlifting program on the website as well. $25 will get that program emailed directly to you. It's essentially a 4-day split that can be run for 4 weeks. You can always double it up and run it for an additional 4 weeks if you're a beginner. I always just recommend for people to follow the program for as long as they can without plateaus. So once you've hit a plateau, it'll probably be about time to change up the program. But this is honestly something I've been working on for a long time, and so a lot of people have run this program already and have gotten some serious gains from it. If you're looking for a program for powerlifting, go ahead, go to the website, download it today, get started in your powerlifting journey. But that's it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.